Okay, this is going to be about Gamehole. Hi, I'm Mickey with the Polyhedral Knights, and we are going to talk about Gamehole 2024. I actually went to it, and this is my review and discussion of how everything broke down. Again, if you like what you see, click on like and describe. If you like what you see, click on like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. Anyways, so let's go on to about Gamehole 2024 and how it went. So I'm going to give you some positive, I'm going to give you some negative on this, okay? Thankfully, there was much more positive than negative. So the positive part is well organized and easy to get around. People there were very nice. I'm not just talking about the people who were attending, but I'm talking about people who were running the show. I had a chance to talk to several people, ask them questions, get directions, that kind of stuff. And I never ran into any kind of problem with anybody, which was fantastic. They seemed to have their stuff well organized, well thought out, well planned out. How they had everything laid out as far as the rooms for the events, the dealer's area, that kind of thing. It worked real well. And someone who's been to really small cons and like Gen Con, it was a radical difference. It was kind of really, it was a big con without being a big con. Like Gen Con, if you've ever been there, it's pretty big. For people who have fear of crowds, they avoid that like the plague. Me, it doesn't scare me, but I will say about Gen Con is they do know how to flow the flow. That's my phone. Flow the flow, what do you call it? Pretty well, for as big as it is. But this place here, they weren't quite that large. They had to have people, kind of help and sweep people along. But it's still, I never had to jam up somewhere, whether it was in the main walking hall area, the vendor area, or any of those places. So I didn't have that. But it's still pretty darn large. And I saw a lot of big companies who were represented there. Not nearly the amount you might see at like a giant thing like Gen Con, but still is pretty impressive. In regards to RPGs, now they did have a good amount of RPGs. Everyone kept saying how this is a primarily RPG con, and that's what drew me there. Because when you go to something like Gen Con, they're mostly board games, and there's a good chunk of RPGs as well too. But this here, you felt like RPGs was the primary. And the other thing that was concerning me at first when I heard about it and where it was at, I was thinking, okay, it's going to be all D&D, and they won't even look at my stuff. But honestly, there was a lot of other games represented there. I mean, D&D was just a fraction like everyone else. So it was nice to see that at least. So it made me feel like at least the stuff I was showing could be seen and played. And so, but we'll go on to how those games went near the end of the video here. Pricing, tickets were very, very fair, I thought, for what you got. Everything else I thought was, fair. Hell, even parking. I mean, some people might have moaned about it, but when you go to a larger convention, you do a lot more walking. Holy cow. I often tease it. I kind of have to do like some endurance training for that kind of thing. But this here, I had no problem getting around. And we parked and didn't have to walk that far, which was nice. The facilities was nice. It was clean, and, well organized, and real easy to find things. Like super easy. Now, of course, when you have this many people, you have issues sometimes with, bathrooms. And there goes my phone again. The facilities, like the bathrooms. When you have that many people, sometimes at certain points of the day, it's going to be like a SARS pit, But in the scale of things, really, even then, it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it might be. So whoever was doing the cleanup on the facilities, they were Johnny on the spot. So no problems there, at least none for me. Some slight negatives, and this is more nitpicking, and it's not really even on the con. Seminar. I did one seminar. Not hosted one. I was actually just attending one. I had some time available, and it seemed like a subject I thought was going to be kind of interesting. I get there, and they spent a good 45 minutes talking about not what it was listed. They was talking about. It turned in more of a talking point of some new thing they're going to be rolling out and probably selling. So it felt like it was like a longer infomercial. And near the end, they opened up some questions, and it kept circling back to their product. So, and it was an hour I could have used better elsewhere. I mean, if you're going to do some seminar, my recommendation is stick to your talking point and do that. That's just me personally. The other thing is food. Anybody who knows me personally, I am a bit of a foodie. I mean, I'm a heavyset guy, and I do cook, and actually I almost became a professional cook. But even then, I mean, I'll cut some slack on some things, but holy cow. Now, the food you're going to get in a convention, it's going to be your standard things like hot dogs and like that. That I'm okay with. I mean, you know what you get. It's a hot dog. I mean, it's processed lips and assholes in a tube. But I eat that shit. I like that stuff. Matter of fact, I ate a lot of it because I had the food trucks outside, and I gotta say, they really did not cut the mustard. As you can probably tell by my accent, I'm from the South, and there's a certain point, I think, that, you know, when you're in the South, you know, barbecue is almost like religion, you know, and for us, if I go up there and I see barbecue, and I get what they call barbecue, and there goes my phone again, I'm gonna expect barbecue. This was not that. But it wasn't just that, it was a few other things with the food trucks. So, food truck guys up there, you know, go back to culinary school, because damn, y'all need some help. Alright, and the last thing. This is more, again, not even towards the convention. Hell, you're going to notice most of the stuff is not really directed at the convention itself, but things that were kind of coming to help out the convention. Large companies. So, I won't name a name of a large company, but and there was a certain gripe I had personally, and I heard from many people that they had, and not even just at Gamehole. I've heard this before at other conventions too, when these large companies show up. They have this thing where they'll get a lot of GMs, which is great. I mean, I'm a bit envious, I won't lie, you know, but I'm small. I understand that. But, you know, and they've gotten so big, I don't think they're really vetting too much who's running their games. And they're requiring them to run these set games, which I get. They want to try and highlight certain things about their game, whatever. But you really get the feeling they're not allowed to really color outside the lines too much at all on the storytelling. And it almost feels like they're reading their thing off like this, and it comes off a bit robotic. And they feel like, you know, a lot of players I've heard from about this feel like they're just kind of really reading a script. And they're like, listen, I paid my ticket to come see this thing, and I get this, you know. So if you're not going to vet your guys, at least let them color outside the lines a little bit, or maybe run some homebrew that maybe you have somebody who's dedicated to reading the outline of that homebrew and allowing it. Because sometimes I know some guys, when they run a homebrew, me myself, if I run a homebrew, it's going to be a lot more organic feeling, okay? It's not going to feel like some damn script. And I'm sure there's a lot of GMs out there the same way on that. So if you do that, just say, hey, can I read your outline on this? And if it's approved, then sure, you can go with this. If not, can I make a suggestion? Maybe you do this, we can highlight this part here. I mean, these guys are big enough, they can't have one person to help do that. I mean, just a thought. So, all right, and otherwise, if I had to rate Gamehole, I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10. And even that 1 is mostly just because of other factors that they couldn't really foresee. And I definitely will be going back. Hell, if I had a choice probably where I had to pick Gen Con or Gamehole, I'd probably pick Gamehole. So that's saying something, guys, okay? My games. So I did go there to run games for the Polyhedral Knights. And it was just me. It was more of a recon mission. I wanted to see how the game convention was, because everyone kept saying, you have to go, you need to go, you need to go. Okay, so I went. And I was well received. I mean, well received for a guy that nobody up there really knew who I was. I think I met 2 people, I think, who actually knew who I was and what I was doing there. But the other people were just taking a chance on some new game they never heard of. And for the most part, it seemed received really well. They liked it, and we're eager to see more. They wish they'd seen more, but it was only me running games, so I can only run so many of my games. I couldn't hit all of my games. But that being said, though, I had a good time. I had an easy time running for a GM. Staff there helped out as far as making sure my needs were met, and people were there to play games, and generally had a good time. Yeah, I will be going back if things go well next year. I'd like to go back also as a vendor and have a vendor booth and have more people with me so we can run more games and actually have a chance to sell our games at a booth, because everyone kept asking that, where's your booth at, where's your booth at? I don't have one right now. This is more of a recon mission, and like I said, it went really well. So if they'll have me as a vendor, I'd like to be there as a vendor. Anyways, so that's my wrap up and review of Gamehole 2024. If you haven't been before, I highly recommend, if you like RPGs or even if you like board games, go there, support these guys. These guys are doing what other conventions should be aiming at doing, and they're doing it right. And you can tell they have a lot of love and passion for role-playing games and games in general. So if you're going, bring some friends. I'm going to try to next year. I'd like to see this thing grow and be successful. I mean, people who are doing this, doing it right, they deserve to be, rewarded for that and encouraged to keep going on. So, anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble on about this. And if you are new to me and who I am, check us out at thepolyhedralknights.com. I write RPGs and produce them. We've got 8 of them out so far, so you can go there and check them all out. And we got more coming out too, and more supplements coming out. So I have like Diarrhea of the Typewriter or Word Processor, whatever you want to call it. I'm old. Do appreciate your support and look forward to talking to you some more. Thanks.